The story follows Dee and how tenderly he cares for Huyen from the moment she discovers she is pregnant. Huyen feels anxious, exhausted, and overwhelmed by the changes in her body, but Dee stays beside her every step of the way, preparing meals, helping her sleep, supporting her physically and emotionally. He studies how to care for pregnant women, learns massage techniques, accompanies her to every checkup, and keeps a calm, loving attitude. When they learn they are expecting a baby girl, Dee becomes even more joyful and attentive. He prepares the baby's things, keeps the house ready, and talks to the unborn child every night. Though Huyen sometimes fears the upcoming birth, Dee holds her hand, reassures her, and reminds her that she is never alone. The story ends as both of them continue waiting with love, hope, and excitement for the arrival of their daughter. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to subscribe and join our growing community. From the moment the two red lines appeared on the pregnancy test, Huyen stood frozen for a few seconds. She stared at the result, her hands trembling as if she couldn't believe that what they had been hoping for so long had finally arrived. Her heart warmed, yet anxiety rose inside her, and tears began rolling down her cheeks without warning. When Huyen walked into the room and saw her sitting quietly at the edge of the bed, he panicked. "What's wrong, love?" he asked. When Huyen held out the test, her eyes still glistening with uncertainty, Dee stopped in his tracks. He looked at her, then at the test kit, then suddenly burst into a soft, disbelieving smile, the kind filled with wonder and joy. He stepped forward quickly and wrapped her tightly in his arms. "We're having a baby? Really?" Huyen nodded, and Dee hugged her even tighter, as if letting go might cause the miracle to disappear. From that day on, Dee changed completely. He was no longer the slightly forgetful guy who sometimes left things lying around or skipped meals. He became careful, attentive, and, according to Huyen, almost too considerate. Every morning when Huyen woke up, Dee had already prepared a warm glass of milk on her bedside table. In the kitchen, he fumbled with vegetables, boiled eggs, or cooked porridge. Even though the dishes didn't always turn out perfect, he tried his best with a patience that surprised even himself. Huyen watched him doing all of that and couldn't help feeling both amused and deeply touched. Some mornings, he boiled eggs until they cracked. Some days the porridge was a bit salty, yet she still praised it as delicious, making him glow with pride. But what moved her most wasn't the food. It was the way he looked at her, filled with worry, tenderness, and gratitude, as though he felt lucky to walk this journey with her. The first months were hard. Huyen's morning sickness was severe. The smell of cooking oil alone made her nauseous. She struggled to sleep at night and woke up exhausted. Every time she bent over or felt dizzy, Dee would rush to her side, holding her gently as if she were porcelain. On nights when she vomited until her whole body felt drained, Dee sat beside her, holding her hair back with one hand and rubbing her back with the other. When she finished, he handed her water, wiped her mouth, and looked at her with such concern that she wondered if he was hurting more than she was. Sometimes, Huyen apologized. "I'm troubling you too much." Dee shook his head, his voice firm and soft. "No, this isn't your burden alone. The three of us are going through it together. I'm here with you, always." As soon as he learned he was going to be a father, Dee became incredibly studious. He read articles about pregnancy, watched videos, and wrote down important notes on his phone. When Huyen asked why he took it so seriously, he chuckled. "Because I'm scared I'll forget something important, and if our daughter asks me anything later, I need to know. A dad can't be clueless." Whenever they went for checkups, Dee handled everything. Numbers, papers, questions for the doctor. He wouldn't even let Huyen stand alone in line. Inside the ultrasound room, whenever they heard the tiny heartbeat or saw the little shape forming on the screen, Dee squeezed Huyen's hand, his own trembling slightly, not from fear, but from happiness too big to contain. When they found out the baby was a girl, Dee practically glowed for the rest of the day. He sat beside Huyen, leaning his head on his hand, staring at her belly with reverence and affection. "A girl, our girl. She's going to be so adorable," he whispered. Huyen laughed. "You're already whipped, aren't you?" Des scratched his head shyly. "Well, I'm her dad." Every night, he placed his ear to Huyen's belly and murmured, "Hey, sweetheart, be good, okay? Daddy and Mommy are waiting for you." Sometimes he heard nothing but the soft sounds inside her, but he still loved every second. And when the baby kicked for the first time, Huyen startled, while Dad nearly yelped in excitement. "She said hi to me! She knows her dad!" By the middle months, Huyen was no longer nauseated, but her worries grew. She feared the changes in her body, feared the pain of childbirth, feared not being a good mother. Some nights she lay silently beside him with tears slipping down her cheeks. Dad would pull her into his arms gently. "What's wrong, love?" "I'm scared. I don't know if I'm ready." He kissed her forehead and whispered, "No one's ever fully ready, but we'll learn. We have each other." That simple reassurance was enough to calm her heart. He didn't speak in grand words, but his presence was grounding, steady, and warm. As her belly grew heavier, walking became hard. Standing too long hurt her back, and sleeping in one position was impossible. So Dad learned to massage her legs and back. His hands were clumsy but warm, and it soothed her more than any professional video online ever could. On nights her feet swelled, he would sit on the floor, lift her legs onto a cushion, and rub them gently until she fell asleep. Though he still worked full-time, the moment he stepped through the door, he turned into a caretaker, a partner, and a father-to-be. He cleaned the house, washed dishes, reorganized the room to prepare space for the baby. Sometimes, Huyen woke up at night to find Dad sitting quietly, looking at a small box filled with tiny socks, tiny hats, and tiny dresses he had secretly bought. His fingers touched each item slowly, tenderly, as if touching his future child. But as the due date approached, Huyen became more anxious. Stories she heard from friends or read online frightened her. She often lay still, hands on her belly, tears falling without clear reason. All she wanted was for her baby to be safe. Dad understood. He didn't try to talk too much. He simply stayed beside her, solid and warm. Every night, he placed his palm on her belly and whispered, "Hey, little one, don't worry. Your mom is the strongest person I know. Daddy and you are right here waiting with her." Those words tied her spinning fears together, calming her just enough. By the 8th and 9th month, her belly became like a full moon. Dad wouldn't let her do anything on her own. He helped her stand, helped her sit, held her arm when she walked, and made sure she always had water. Every tiny change in her expression, every wince, every sigh, Dad noticed instantly. One night, Huyen leaned against him with her hands on her belly, teary-eyed. "Dad, I just want our baby to be safe. I'm so scared." Dad pressed his cheek against her hair. "I know, but we've loved her every single day. She'll be safe because her mom is brave." In that moment, Huyen realized she didn't have to be strong alone. She had Dad, an unpolished, gentle, steadfast man who held her fears as carefully as he held her hands. And so, amid the heaviness of her belly, the sleepless nights, and the tender evenings when Dad massaged her back or whispered to their daughter-to-be, they waited. They waited in love. They waited in hope. They waited in quiet, trembling excitement for the day their little girl would join them. The story ends not with a birth, but with a promise. a promise held in their intertwined fingers and in every heartbeat growing inside Huyen. A family is on its way, wrapped in love.